Well, far from it. Maybe we need to go to the beginning. First of all, why don't we have a parliamentary group meeting today? If President Kenyatta would have accepted for that meeting to go on, then the public perception would have been that he succumbed to the pressure from the deputy president's lieutenants. That in fact they're the ones who got more political capital than him. Effectively, that will make President Kenyatta a lame duck president. That when he's making a decision, nobody will bother to implement it, because in any event they know the person who is taking over from is Ruto. And that will make the Big Four agenda come to zero. Because if he goes to a public rally and he tells people that I want us to work on the Big Four agenda, and then Ruto says I want us to work on, say, the Jubilee Manifesto, then people would rather follow what Ruto is saying, because they know that's where the power stops. Right. And when you go to America, that's normally the phobia. That if you're a president, you'd want to become a lame duck president maybe 3 months to the end of your second term, not 6 months into your second term. And in my view, what President Kenyatta is doing about a lifestyle audit is welcome. People need to give him a pat on the back, because we know that in Kenya, if you want to become a millionaire, you do not need to harness the factors of production. Get a top position in the public sector and start working. And this takes us back to the Ndegwa report of 1971, whereby we allowed public servants to trade with government. Now, you've got to say a public servant at the State Department of Works, he will take decisions consistent with his business interest. He would say, you want to do these roads, not because we need roads, but because he wants to make money from roads. And that's the tragedy we have in Kenya, that it's a procurement-led decision-making process. Like, for instance, we understand a few years ago, the Kenyan government bought medical equipment, which was forced upon governors, not because governors needed the medical equipment, but people say that it was a procurement-driven decision. That let's buy all this equipment, then I get my kickback. Now, what the president is saying, that we need a lot more transparency and visibility in this tendering process. Like right now, he's indicated every tender that is going to take place is going to be publicized, so that we are able to know who is behind this. But will the lifestyle audit be a success? No way. Don't wait for it, because for you to effect it, you need to pass legislation at the National Assembly. And majority of the members of the National Assembly will not want us to know their sources of wealth, because there are very few members of the National Assembly who are known to engage in industry, who harness the facts of production. Like, for instance, in my village, the richest people today are the MCAs. And these MCAs are not known to have a factory, they're not known to have a farm, but everything is around the tender process. And in my view, what President Kenyatta needs to do is to zoom in. Actually, if I was seated in his position, I wouldn't even focus on the Big Four agenda. I would just zoom in into the public sector. Because if the public sector is able to deliver, then you'll achieve the Big Four automatically. For instance, look at the case of housing. The PS responsible for housing, if is given performance indicators, I mean, what is it supposed to do when you're the PS for housing? You're supposed to ensure Kenya has got housing security, so you focus on that. The Minister for Agriculture, his responsibility is food security. So if you just have the public sector working, and when they know that if you steal Wanjiku's resources, you're going to spend time behind bars, people will run away. But right now, what happens when you steal? We celebrate you, we make you an MCA, an MP, a governor, and before we know, you are running for president.